CBSE Board, Class 11, History, Chapter 1, Part 5, Audio by Renee Matthew. We saw how the fossils are classified, and there are 3 classifications given on the screen here. Now, we have to see how the fossils are named. Before coming to this slide, I would like to tell you that fossil is an evidence of the remains of plants and animals who lived or thrived millions of years ago. I hope you know what is a fossil and how it is preserved. It gets trapped within the soil and the stones or whatever was available millions of years ago, and we get to know of all these. It is like an imprint which is received on the stone or the soil or the sediments that is there in the ground. Like if you take the print of a leaf, you will get the print just like that. No, the same way fossils are also formed. Now, how are fossils named? We have to see that. Most of the fossils are derived from the places where the first fossils of a particular type was found. For example, in the city of Germany, a city called Heidelberg, Homo heidelbergensis. That was the name of the fossil which was derived for the species known as Homo. The name is heidelbergensis. While those found in the Neander Valley was termed as Homo neanderthalensis. So, of course, you can see the names of the cities or the places from which they were found. And the earliest fossils from Europe are these 2 categories that we saw just now, from Germany and from Neander Valley. And both belong to the species known as the archaic species, that is the old Homo sapiens. The fossils of Homo heidelbergensis have a wide distribution, which means the fossil of this particular origin has got a wide distribution, which means that it is found over an expanse of land. It is not just 1 or 2. There are more number of it which is widely distributed over the place. And it is found in Africa, Asia, Europe, all these places. And Neanderthals occupied Europe, Western and Central Asia. That too roughly 130,000 to 35,000 years ago. And that is why we have got those fossils there. And they just disappeared abruptly in Western Europe around 35,000. So you can also estimate the years. It is like how many years back they lived. All that can be estimated from the fossil. Then how many years they lived. All that can be studied from the remains of the fossils which is dug from the earth. Then earlier in the previous audio we saw the difference between hominids and homonoids. Now we are going to compare Australopithecus with Homo. Just now we saw that Homo was also discovered in Germany and Neander Valley. So now we have to compare the characteristics of Australopithecus with Homo. And Homo have got larger brain, jaws with a reduced outward protrusion, and smaller teeth. We saw that in the evolution of the skull. Remember the diagram? So the same thing. And it has got an increase in brain size, just like how I told you now, which means that there is more intelligence, more possibility for intelligence and better memory power. And the changes in the jaws and teeth were probably related to differences in dietary habits. So when your diet changes, there will be changes in jaws and teeth, and the shape of your chin and all that will vary. So because of that change, it doesn't change all of a sudden. It is not like that. It changes from a species to another species. So that is the comparison, and all these comparison charts are very important. So make sure that you don't get confused, but you can draw and just find out with relevance to the figures it is given in the text. Now the story of human evolution, that is how we came to know how the modern human beings have evolved. What is the status of the modern human being? That is what we are going to see now. And you can notice that some of the earliest evidence for Homo sapiens, that is the present modern human beings, belong to the group known as Homo sapiens. It was found in different parts of Africa, so that those places actually gave the first, it paved the way for the first remains of the humans. Was there a single center or were there several? So we saw that it was distributed, or we found the first remains of human life in Africa. what we would like to, when we study something further, we need to know whether it was just found in one particular place of Africa, or was it found in many parts of Africa. Did you understand? Whether it was found in one particular place, or whether it was widely distributed all over the African continent. So that is how we name this, these kind of remains. For example, the first point, the place of origin of modern humans has much been debated. From where the modern humans have originated, that is Homo sapiens. Where were they first found? Now there are two different views. Like I'm talking about the Homo sapiens and not about the any other species that we saw just now, Homo or any of those. It is about Homo sapiens, the modern one. So there are a lot of debates going on from where we have found the first group of modern humans, and there are two divergent views which has been studied on a profound level. The first one advocates the regional continuity model, which means that it was found in multiple regions of origin. For example, if it is Africa, it was found in many regions of Africa, like wide distribution. The replacement model means it was found in a single place in Africa. So whether it was a wide distribution or whether it was found in a single place, regional continuity model or replacement model. Now, according to the regional continuity model, the archaic Homo sapiens in different regions, gradually evolved at different rates. So according to this particular principle, where it can be found in different regions of Africa, we can conclude that Homo sapiens resided in different places in Africa. That is, if it is Africa, it is Africa. So because we saw in Africa, I'm using this particular place. So it shows that it was found in different regions and it evolved at different rates. Like suppose it was found in northern Africa, maybe the same species was found in south of Africa, southern Africa, but they evolved at different rates wherever they are. Did you understand? The evolution took place from that particular place where they resided. So evolution at different rates into modern humans. So from where they were residing, from there the evolution took place, and hence the variation in the first appearance of modern humans in different parts of the world. So as they evolved, you could see maybe the northern part of Africa evolved first. For example, for instance, you can just take an example to understand this point better. Suppose the northern part of Africa had one species and it evolved first. It means that evolved, or that particular place saw the evolution first. So it is like an accidental or incidental discovery which happens. The argument is based on the regional differences in the features of present-day humans. So, why they are arguing? Because there are a lot of regional differences. For example, when you see people in Africa, the features are different. When you see people in Europe, the feature is different. Of course, the face will be different. The structure and the construction of the face, the skeletal structure will be different of the visage. But there is a general feature which is common to the people of a particular region, right? For example, Indians are known as brown skin. So something like that. So what the text is trying to tell you is, when it is regional continuity model, it means that that particular place, for example, in Africa, suppose it is in Africa, there the evolution took place. Then it happened in Europe or something like that. So wherever the evolution took place, the first species were formed. That is, the first species of Homo sapiens was formed. So wherever the first evolution took place, the first form was found. And that is dependent on many factors like climate, then adaptability, then it can also be the dietary plants and all these things. So because of many factors, one particular place will see the evolution for the first time. So these two models are very important: regional continuity model and replacement model. According to those who advocate this view, these dissimilarities are due to difference between the pre-existing Homo erectus and Homo heidelbergensis populations that occupied the same region. So these two species were found in the same region. So that is why all these kind of debates are going on. Like, that will give you the access to the other one, the replacement continuity model, and the previous one. So it can be the regional one. So you have this particular diagram here, modern Homo sapiens. So instead of going through all these points, I would like to draw your attention to these two models. This is replacement model and this is regional continuity model. It is regional, okay, not religious. It is regional. And look at how the replacement model is structured. Can you see this? This is specific to a region. Okay, suppose you have one particular species. Let's take Homo erectus. Europe, Africa, Asia. Here also it is Europe, Africa, Asia. So here you can see that it is taking place at the same time. Alright. Green, 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 yellow, yellow. It is not at different times. It is taking place at the same time. If it is blue here also, blue here also. It is specific to the region. Okay. Here it is not specific to the region, but it is widely distributed. Suppose it is yellow here. At some other point of time, yellow will happen here. At some other point of time, yellow will happen here. But in all the three places, yellow will happen, but not at the same time. Did you understand? Not at the same time. Look at blue. It is not happening at the same time. But look at this. So it is split. Okay, it is split like that. So that is the meaning of replacement continuity model and religious model. So one takes place widely distributed all over the place. It can be any place. And the other one takes place in a particular region. It is predominant to the particular region. Now these points are not very important. It is only for your extra reference. If you are really interested, you can take a look at it. For example, regional continuity model. Humans evolved more or less simultaneously across the entire old world. Okay, across, it is happening across. This one is, it evolved only in a particular place. It is very much, humans evolved only once in Africa, okay, from the Heidelbergensis ancestors and then migrated throughout the old world. So maybe it happened just in one particular place and people migrated. It is not that everywhere it evolved. That is the meaning of it. Either it has evolved in one particular place or it has evolved everywhere. That is the meaning of it. So one is regional and the other one is replacement. The replacement model, what does it visualize? It visualizes the complete replacement everywhere. So from the word itself, you can understand that the replacement took place everywhere, where all the older forms of humans were replaced with the modern humans, everywhere together at the same time. In support of this view is the evidence of the genetic and the anatomical homogeneity of modern humans. And genetic means the genetic dealings, which comes under biology. Anatomical is the structural, that is the outward appearance or the structure and all these things. Genetical is something which goes deep into the study, biological part. So, those who suggest this particular model argues that the enormous similarity amongst human beings is due to their descent from a population that originated in a single region, which is Africa. So these people feel that the replacement took place at the same time and it happened in Africa, and from there they migrated to Asia, Europe, like that. Okay, because replacement, it happened at the same time and that too in a particular region. So this evidence of the earliest fossils of modern humans was found in Omo in Ethiopia. That is why they felt that it supports a replacement model. Now scholars who hold this view particularly suggest that the physical differences observed today, it is all common, right? It is a result of adaptation. Some people say it is because of adaptation, because of, I told you just now, because of weather changes, because of soil. It can be because of the dietary conditions and all that. That is why everywhere, because they are arguing with this particular point that replacement took place took form at the same time, because the characteristics or similarity is there between all the modern humans. So what are the scholars telling? The scholars are telling that it happened because of adaptation, and that is why it took place at the same time. And then the population migrated to the particular regions where they finally settled down. They settled down in Africa. So many arguments are there. I don't want you to get confused with any of these models or what is being told. You just have to remember that you have two models. Regional continuity model, replacement. This is specific to multiple regions. This is specific to one single origin, which meant that replacement took place in one particular place. So that much you understand, and then you study little bit on the definitions of the each part. That is what you have to take note of. Early humans' ways of obtaining food is very important, is very interesting also. So we have understood the skeletal remains, the structure of the early humans and how they evolved, and how the historians and scholars tried their best to reconstruct the society in which they lived. So we have to go a little bit deep into the routine of these human beings as well. And there are a number of ways in which they gathered food. That is through gathering. That is like they go to a particular place and they gather in groups, or individually they'll pluck berries or fruits and they will gather. That is gathering. Hunting is, killing and fighting for the animals. Scavenging is whatever is remaining, like maybe the animals will eat each other and then the remaining will be there. That they will go and have. Okay. And fishing. So gathering, hunting, scavenging, fishing were the earlier forms or ways of obtaining food. Now what is gathering? Okay, this gathering would involve collecting food such as seeds, nuts, berries, fruits and tubers. Now we don't eat everything just like that in the form that we get, right? Some fruits and berries you can just consume it raw, but in those days they did not know what to do with it. So they just had everything and they could digest everything. So this gathering was practiced, and it is assumed that it was established many years ago, but there is no much evidence for gathering. Evidence for gathering is very less from what we have now. And we get a lot of, clarity into it through the fossil bones, fossilized plant remains. Okay, so whatever we have now is only maybe 2% or 3% of the evidence. Not much is available, so we can't say that they depend on gathering. And the only way of collecting information about gathering is from the remains of the plants which were accidentally burned. This process results in carbonization. So what happens is organic matter is preserved for a long span of time within the soil or within the rocks. And then the archaeologists, specialized archaeologists are there who will find, evidence of these carbonized seeds which got burned and it is preserved within for this particular period. But many of the archaeologists are telling that they were not able to gather much evidence for gathering. It is very less. So we cannot say that many of the early human forms actually depended on gathering. So carbonization is one form. Like heated means it is not that they went and heated the seeds and all these things in roasted or heated in fire. That is not the meaning. It is like because of the sun or because of the heat that it got burned or heated and then it was preserved. So you should understand that fossils were not preserved by the early forms of human beings intentionally so that, we will find out. It is not like that. It is something which happened because of accidents and incidents. That is what you should remember.